Today we're going to be studying Chapter 12, the personal computer. I'm sure many of you have many different personal computer devices in your home. So why would we study personal computers? So personal computer use is on the rise, and it has been since the 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, at a very measurable rate. The industry shipped 496 million computers in 2013, and that's almost one new device for every 14 people on Earth. So size matters, and as personal computers get smaller and lighter, more user-friendly, they just continue to increase with popularity. So as far as usage goes, the sky is the limit. The personal computer, has many applications for educational use, business use related to sales and bookkeeping as well. Just in general, the way that we communicate now is evolving because of the use of the personal home computer. Increased access is also one of the reasons why personal computer use is on the rise. Portability, smartphones, tablets, you can now just put a device into your pocket or your backpack and have all of your information at your fingerprints in a different location. Affordability, with computers we've seen a rise in quality and at the same time a drop in price. So that just is another reason why it's become more accessible to the home computer user. Mobility, the access to the internet in many different locations now is one of the reasons why, in combinations with your smartphone, 4G networks, those kind of things, or your tablet usage in coffee shops and in parks. As the internet access increases, the personal computer device just goes up amongst the home user. Availability, at least 70% of Americans have broadband internet access, and that is up from 4% in 2000. So that's a pretty amazing jump in such a short amount of time. It's just one of the ways that technology is evolving and becoming more accessible. So, availability increase. Let's talk about a brief history of the personal computer. So the first computer was more of a calculator. That's the best way to describe it. It was a mechanical counting device that was developed for the use of the U.S. Bureau of the Census. They needed a faster way to tally results from the census, and it was utilized on a punch card system. So they were counting punches. IBM by 1975 controlled, 2/3 of the computing market, and it heavily used an Intel chip and Microsoft software for usability for consumers. And then Apple was first demonstrated on the market in 1976, but became available in 1977 to the personal user. Microsoft operating systems ran nearly 93% of all PCs that accessed the internet in January of 2014. So although I am an Apple user primarily, apparently many of you are using Windows on PC. Next, let's talk a little bit about hardware. So think of a computer's brain as the central processing unit, or the CPU. So the CPU performs math and logic calculations. It holds data and software instructions, basically, and then executes them. So a chip is a transistor and electrical circuits all combined. So a chip or central processing unit used to be these like vacuum tubes that would overheat, and now it's just this tiny little, the size of a thumbnail, electrical like circuit. So basically, these chips went from being the size of buildings to being the size of a fingernail. So that's one of the reasons that our computers now are just becoming lighter and smaller. So we're taking the amount of information and the amount of processing that's available and putting it into a much smaller space. So we're getting a larger capacity in a smaller space, and that is just one of the reasons why personal computers are just becoming more and more popular. So let's talk about memory. So there's the random access memory, RAM, R-A-M, big letters. So that is what provides the set of instructions to the CPU. But it's kind of like a short-term memory for a human in a way, in that when you shut your computer down, the next time you start it up, it kind of restarts RAM like at the beginning in a new place. It's waiting for a new set of instructions based on this specific time that you're using your computer. So it's kind of like when a human works on their homework, finishes an assignment, takes a nap, and then wakes up and is ready to hit the reset button to perform a different task, maybe the dishes. Okay, so storage memory. So the hard drive, flash drives, thumb drives, CDs, DVDs, we've seen these evolve throughout use. So hard drive capacities have just become greater. I remember when you could get a 1 gigabyte flash drive for your computer, and now you can buy a 16. You can buy an SD card with 100 gigabytes of memory. So just another example of how we can now get a larger capacity of information and data storage into a smaller device. Next, we are going to talk about software. So think of software as being task-oriented. So for instance, your operating system. Every computer has to have an operating system to work. That's how it is. So you coordinate your hardware with your software or with your operating system, and that's how you manage software applications. So operating systems determine the look and the feel of your PC. For instance, Mac, Apple uses OS X. There's Windows 7, Windows 95, Windows XP. Chrome is also another heavily used operating system. And on our tablets, there's Android or iOS. So those are some of the ones that are more heavily used on smartphones and tablets. And next, let's see. Okay, so recent developments in the personal home computer. So tablets and laptops have kind of taken over. They largely outsell desktop computers. And that has to do with both mobility and portability. So you have a smaller device, you can take it anywhere, and now we have access to internet in many more places. So it makes those light devices more useful. So you can work on your laptop at home, and then you can take it to the park with you. That is what is largely causing a decline in desktop computer sales. Software. So Microsoft controls the PC market for operating systems, and that is nearly 90%. The increase in applications over, I would say my college years. And cloud-based software have largely replaced like CD and DVD software installation. Now we can just log into an app store and purchase software that is readily and immediately available on our computer. We can go to a website and pay a fee and download software immediately and have it ready for use that night. We used to have to order, boxed versions in CD or DVD format for installation on our computer, and these sometimes came with keys You know, like you might get Microsoft Office with 3 keys for installation on 3 computers. So, software has largely become more accessible and also, you know, readily available at the click of a button. So that is definitely a recent development, and I definitely continuing to move in that direction. So, let's talk about a question for you guys. So the percentage of U.S. households with computers by state in 2011 is represented in, let's see, figure 12.2. In your book, it is on page 157. I've included a picture of that map in the PowerPoint. You can blow it up and look at that, or you can look in your book. Based off of the map, what percentage of households in your state own a personal computer? Does this surprise you? And why or why not? So I'm really interested to hear your responses. Thank you for watching and have a great week.